Hello.
And his clothes.
And welcome to a gaming conversation with friends. We're back once again. It's been a fortnight. We're back with episode number 3. This week we have a guest, a good friend of the show, BMG. How are you doing?
Good evening. Thanks for having me. It's brilliant to be on. It's good. It's good to do a podcast on a Monday again. You know, I've not done one on a Monday for a while, and I'm in great company with these fine gentlemen, RemovableSanity and VJ, and new Stubbs as well. No, it's great. It's great to be here, and thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. And RemovableSanity. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Every time you say it's great to be back again, once I feel it sounds like what's it called? Like
I'm trying not to cough for the minute. I've got a bad cough.
Is it?
Yeah.
What did you say a bit earlier? It's like was it? Oh, you used a phrase, particularly back. Was it back again?
No.
Oh, it's every time you say that, it's like in my head I go with.
Oh right, yeah, back once again.
Yeah, back. That's exactly it. I keep fucking thinking every time you do it, that bloody thing starts playing in my head back once again, and my head just goes with the Renegade Master, and it just goes off in its own little bloody world. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud!
I never thought that before, but yeah, I know.
See, the '80s music has influenced you. I know BMG would have heard of back once again from the Renegade Master.
Yes.
Wouldn't you, BMG?
Oh yes, definitely, most definitely.
You were sitting there with your WKD, blue WKD, listening to it on your cassette tape.
Oh, see, no, I was the Iron Brew. I was the orange.
Yeah. VJ was probably the bottles.
VJ was the no. VJ didn't. No. Come on, this is VJ we're talking about. VJ doesn't do bottles. VJ would have done Snakebite, the original Snakebite.
Oh my goodness, I remember Snakebite.
Yeah, see, told you. No. We're not talking the kiddie version here, Stubbs. Not the actual. It was a lager and some little cherry, some cherry drink in it. This was proper. It was Scrubs,
Stella and
Scrumpy Jack, Stella, and cherry brandy, which was stuck. A little drop of that was stuck into the centre of it, and that's why it's called Snakebite. Because when you saw it, you would drink strips of the actual cherry brandy would come off as well.
Drink it, and a lot of people couldn't handle it because what would happen? A lot of places would ban it because what would happen? It would cause violence, or it would cause projectile vomiting.
Well, it's
banned it, so it was the mixing of it.
Well, that's what you did. You buy all three separately and do it yourself.
Are we talking about drinks here, or are we talking about Elden Ring again?
Oh, both. To be honest, it's literally But that's what I used to do. Yeah, buy it separately, and then just sit.
I thought was your projectile vomiting was a
Rutland thing.
Was an alternate wording for frenzied flame?
Oh God. They're sorry I haven't heard for a while. Jesus Christ.
Good to hear you back on VJ.
Oh, thank you for having me back on the show. And nice to have BMG on. I've forgotten his real name now. I don't know if he's ever told us.
Gary.
Oh, that's it. Leslie.
Dave.
The name Grantham. And obviously Removable. My partner in crime for the last couple of weeks.
And for the last couple of days as well, hasn't it?
Yep.
Go on, VJ. What we've been playing for the last couple of days, you can tell everybody.
Oh, Stubbs, I love your impersonation of Removable there.
You've nailed it.
You've nailed it. Sorry, back to you, Mr. Stubbs.
Oh, you're dying to tell everybody. Come on, then. You've all been playing Diablo.
Something that Stubbs hasn't been playing, but says he has. He got onto the title screen. He did make it.
Is that the right pronunciation? Diablo, or is it Diablo?
Diablo 4.
Diablo. Okay, I need to get that right.
I don't know how they say it because it's.
I don't know either. I was just checking.
They'll probably say it differently.
It could be Diablo or Diablo. I suppose it could be dependent on the.
Could just be Elden Ring.
It could. That's it exactly. I know BMG hasn't played it, hasn't it, right, mate? You kind of kept away from all that stuff.
Yeah, Diablo's never been my kind of game.
Diablo. Like that.
D-Ablo. No, that's not. It's not a game I've played. It's them sort of games don't really interest me. I've never really shown much interest in the franchise. To be honest, anything Blizzard really, I've not really played. I played Warcraft once, and I didn't understand it, so I gave up rather quickly. But yeah, not my type of game, to be honest.
Well, to be honest, I'd say it's the isometric third-person version of Destiny 2. You see. So I was, yeah, I was kind of assuming you'd be like straight in there. No, clearly not a Destiny 2 fan, if that's the case.
Destiny 2, the best live service FPS game on the planet to date. Wow.
That's going to rile up a few people in the chat, that's for sure.
Makes Halo look like Roblox.
I don't know, Roblox does seem actually quite enjoyable.
Welcome, Crispy Bomb. Thanks for popping in. A Friendly Pest. Thanks for popping in, mate. Misuku. UK Lad. I think that's about it. But BMG's in the chat as well. Destiny.
Yes, I am.
Destiny's a great game. I used to play hundreds of hours of it on Destiny 1. I need to get back into Destiny 2 a day. But yeah, I do like that. Truth be told, I've played more Destiny than I ever have played Gears of War.
Can we clip that?
You can clip that, but it's known. I've said it a lot of times. But it's the raid. The raids are so. The problem is I like the game. It's just the raids I can't do because it takes precision. Like
takes a lot of shooting.
When you got kids, it's difficult. You see, because a raid can take anywhere from. I remember once I was in a raid. It took something like 8 hours to get halfway through. Everyone has to get every bit and every element perfect. I play Destiny, but I do not play the raids. I can't.
Yeah, you've got to have a team. You've got to work in sync. You can't have one person messing things up. You've got to work in sync. But the good thing about the raids is you can do so many hours in, jump out, have a break, do whatever, even come back to it the next day. I think you get up to 24 hours between jumping in. But the whole idea of if you want to be world's first is you just sit there and you play, whether it takes you a day and a half or not. You just make sure you've got plenty of empty bottles to piss into. That's the way it works. But yeah, raids. You have to have a good team. You have to all be in sync, know what you're doing, have an idea of how things work. Otherwise, you're just not going to get anywhere. Last time I did a raid, one of the guys we were playing with was just. He's a good guy, but he was useless, and you were constantly reviving him, trying to do his bit while trying to do your bit, and it just fell apart. So we all kind of gave up in the end. Everyone like rage quit because we just wasn't making any progress after about 4 or 5 hours. It's just like, no, we're done. Let's move on because it's clearly not working.
But no, it's apart from that. I mean, I've got to play the update. I mean. What do you think of the new? Because obviously you've played the new Lightfall. Have they changed the game? Is it a lot better? Is it any what's it called? Quality of life updates? Are you enjoying the game more than you were? Because now you have periods where you jump in and then once you've done the content, you jump out for a bit. You do.
Yeah. Well, what they've kind of done now is they've added a lot of like quality of life stuff, more stuff to build up and level up. Lightfall itself, it's not a very long expansion, but it's good. It's okay. There's a lot of negative reviews out there saying, "Oh, it's not what we wanted. We wanted this, we wanted that, and that's not included." But Bungie have come out and said we have a lot to add over the year. This is the starting point. This is everything we're giving you now, but over the coming months to the next expansion, which is going to be called The Final Shape, there's so much more content to come. But yeah, they've like introduced where now you can sort all your mods for your individual armor pieces, your weapons. You can now have multiple loadouts depending what situation you go into, whether it's raid, dungeon, PvE, PvP, PvE, VP.
It's basically a first-person version of Diablo, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've not played Diablo, so maybe I'll have to try it. I think I'll have to try it.
Do you actually, I think actually, if you do like Destiny, I think if you're happy with a third-person isometric, top-down experience that has a similar sort of thing, I think you might get into it.
We might be bored, to be honest, compared to Destiny.
Yeah, I'd give it a go. I'm willing to give things a go, get a comparison, and work that. But the amount, I'm willing to give it a go.
Worth trying.
The amount of stuff that I'd say they've added, like say you can have your different loadouts depending what situation was in. They've added Guardian rank now. As I was just saying in the green room, I'm rank 6, so I'm classed as a veteran, working my way to rank 7, which is elite. You've got a number of stuff you've got to do and goals you've got to hit to be able to level up, but it shows other Guardians players, what level you're at and how you play and how well you do and how more willing you are to help. They've introduced accommodations, so at the end of a dungeon, a raid, a strike, a battleground, which is another new feature, you can accommodate other Guardians, so whether it be like mastery, fun, allied, stuff like that, stuff like that, just to show, you can build that up, which also builds up your rank. I'd say again, all your new exotics, legendary gear, seasonal campaign as well. Alongside the main campaign, you do get the seasonal campaign, which they only now let you do so many steps in that campaign a week, so they can try and drag it out a bit. So you can do so many steps, and when the reset hits on Tuesday, then everything resets and you can do it again. Store refreshes. There's just so much to do. Like the battlegrounds itself is literally they've got this area. You've got to do step by step, make your way through to destroy the final guy, to take over the area, which is fun. And they've made it now. Things are harder because the thing I found with Destiny, I could run through a strike and you could get through it within like 7 or 8 minutes. Now it's taking 20 to 25 minutes because it's harder. There's more enemies. You've got the kind of pushing you to work together and work as a team, which you find with some players in any game that's multiplayer orientated that people will just run off, and you find that you have to revive them part way through because they just went too far ahead too soon. But no, I'm really, really enjoying it. They've just introduced so many new things, mixed up the matches, enemy types. You can replay what they call Battlegrounds Defiant, which is like the hardest point in it, which is also a weekly where you've got to do 3 within a week. And then once you've done them 3, you get pinnacle gear. And then you could do another 2, which will then just give you like powerful gear. So it's not worth doing. Probably one of a fun mode, which I recommend for people for trying. If you want a bit of PvP, but not full, it's called Gambit. And pretty much you've got 2 teams of Guardians. You're working to bank what they call moats by killing enemies. You bank them. Once you get to 100, you get like this big boss, which you've got to do, like a multi-phase thing to kill it. And while the other team's competing through that match, one team member from their team and one team member from your team can jump to their map where you can go and kill them, to gain extra points and things like that. So yeah, that's really fun. But there's just so much to do. They've now changed up what is called New Light. And the idea is, if you're new to Destiny or you're just starting a new Guardian, it's like and this is the free to play this bit as well. It's like a small campaign just to get used to the mechanics, what's going on, what has been going on, what's just happened.
So onboarding. So they're trying to improve the onboarding for new players because it is very daunting.
Well, they've made it so much easier, and you literally every new thing that you're introduced to, it'll tell you about it. But while doing a bit of a story as well, so you don't get lost. You know what you're doing, and it once you've done that first bit, it'll say, right, you now go here. go, and it'll say, right, go and talk to this person, that person, that person. And you get like your bounties and things like that. So there's always something to do. It's now at the point where you can't actually stand there in game and go, there's nothing for me to do. There's always something to work towards, whether it's accolades, doing the Season of Defiance, your battle pass. There's like multiple things you can level up in that, your rank. There's like another thing where you've got like individual accolades. If you do all the things in that, you get the badge. But what they do is, and I've not seen any other game do it, if I'm, chat panel, correct me if I'm wrong. Say I complete a full accolade. There's 20 things I have to do in it, and I complete that. I get the little badge. I can then display that under my name. But then what Bungie do is they'll send you an email with a special link to their store where you can actually then buy that pin of that accolade that you've accomplished. Yeah, you have to buy it, but it's not expensive. But you can get a physical item for completing that accolade. You don't have to, but it's just like an incentive.
Yeah.
Right? You've done these accolades, right? Click this link. You can now buy this pin, which you can get like a display case, and you can display them. So you've got the actual physical thing as well as the thing digitally on the game, which is quite a nice touch. And as I was just saying in the green room, if you like, when it comes to the new raids, there are big teams out there. But if you became world's first, your team, you actually get sent think of a WWE title belt with the raid picture on the front, all engraved with your name on. You get interviewed, you get loads of goodies.
Really? That's nice.
Yeah. There's a lot of incentives. It's nice that you could get actual physical things. They do all year round. There's seasonal stuff like your Halloween, your Christmas.
So they launched the raid globally at the same time, so it's fair.
Yeah. It's launched worldwide, and everyone gets a crack at it. If you've got a team, you can go to it, and if you're world first, you benefit from it. But yeah, there's just so much to do. There's just so much to do in Destiny, and they did a Assassin's Creed crossover. So my actual Guardian, because I'm Warlock class, I actually look like obviously apart from the head's more like it's like a helmet, but still got like the hood. What's it called? Altair from the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. But and the new subclass, they've introduced a new subclass as well called Strand, which is quite fun to play around with. I get these little things called Fredlings that like hover around me and attack enemies when I start firing and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a really good game. It is free to play, and they have cross-play, cross-platform. So,
could you explain what you mean by free to play? Because VJ and people that haven't replayed it might misinterpret that.
Free to play is you don't get the expansions. You get the base content, which is Destiny 2, and the new light campaign, which introduces you into the game. And I think you get to do a couple of strikes. And essentially, it's just so you get a taster of the game. You can buy cosmetics and things from the store, and then you can move on to then picking up the expansions, which will obviously expand your experience and give you access to more content. But I highly recommend it to try. If you've not played Destiny or you played it when it originally launched, it was awful. I'm not afraid to admit that it was bad. But jump into it now. There is so much there. There's a lot going on. But as a newcomer, you'll find it easier coming to it as a new player than a returning player because so much has changed. It took me quite a while to get used to the changes. But now I'm just hooked back on that Destiny train. It's just got its claws in me. Every time I think, I'm going to play this, I'm going to play that, I'm just stuck on it. I picked up that Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 on PlayStation because it was like £17 on PlayStation, but $39.99 on Xbox. I thought, pick it up there, and I've still not even touched that yet.
I'm glad you're liking Destiny anyway.
Yeah, good game. It's really good.
Welcome to Judzilla and Graphic God. Thanks for popping. I really appreciate that. But yes, Crispy Bombs definitely played Gears of War 5 more than me. he's got over 42 days in the game. You just sent me a screenshot. Yeah, I haven't played that much. I don't even know how many days I've got in it. But I bet you've got more than have you got more than 42 days in Destiny 2? Easy, I bet.
Easy. I've been Destiny since day one.
It's been around longer, don't it, to be fair?
Yeah. It's coming into, because originally Lightfall was going to be the last expansion. This was it. This was going to be the end of the 10-year plan that Destiny had. But then they realised the story they wanted. This was pre being bought by PlayStation. This is when they were still independent. They still had a lot of story and that they wanted to tell for the final shape. So that's why they made the announce, not last year before, when they announced Witch Queen and Lightfall, that there'll be a last expansion. Where it goes after that, I don't know. And how it actually continues, because obviously, Lance Riddick, rest in peace, sadly passed away a few days ago, which amazing actor. He's been in numerous games. It was in both Horizon games, his likeness and voice. Quantum Break, absolutely amazing in, whether you were seeing
Who was he in Horizon?
Silence.
Oh, how did I not know that? Amazing character.
I don't know how you didn't know that, because it was literally his likeness and voice.
I'm terrible. When I read exactly what games he'd been in, I was like, didn't I know?
And he did Quantum Break, and obviously that was the TV show / game, which I really loved. I wish more games would do that, because depending on the choices you made in the game, was depending what episode.
I've only known about 2 or 3 games have actually done that, where they put a TV series right next to a game launch.
I only know of Quantum Break, if I'm honest.
Really? There was it was oh god, it begins with a D. It was on the Xbox 360 and recently come out on the Xbox itself. It was as a free play game. Oh, it begins with D. God Christ, that's going to frustrate me.
I'm joking.
No, it wasn't. It was joking. Defiance. Yes, Defiance. Defiance, the video game, and Defiance, the TV show. The TV show was brilliant. It also had the woman from Terminator in it. That show you how it's some quite famous TV characters in it, and film characters in that. Yeah, if you ever get a chance to see Defiance, the series, the TV series, really good show. But they also they tied it into the game, so every week, as a new episode came out, then all these basically events and episodes would also kick off at the same time as the show was aired.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. But yeah, it was brilliant in Quantum Break, and obviously he's known for Darth Prassitz. I was getting there. Don't worry. He played Zavala in Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. And he was a very big Destiny player as well. In fact, there was, I think it came out not yesterday, day before. He was actually playing Destiny the day before he passed, which is again quite sad as well. But he was a big Destiny player, and it's just a shame that he's gone. He was fit, healthy as far as we knew. It worked out. Only 60, so still fairly young, and it's just a shame. And I'm quite intrigued on how they're going to forward Destiny without him. I do believe he's actually done stuff. He's recorded everything for the rest of this year. So all the seasons, because obviously they do season a quarter, get your four seasons out the way, then you get your new expansion. So I know they've done at least up until the 4th season. I don't know how we go about into the new one, whether they're going to rewrite stuff. I don't know. But yeah, amazing actor, brilliant in games, and it's I'm sad that he's gone.
It's a shame it is. Is it young? He's only 60, so it's no age, that is.
Yep. I mean, you're not far off it, Stubbs, so, keep an eye out.
I'm 40 in the next year.
It just brought a presence about him, in whether it was acting, in-game, film, TV shows. It was on numerous TV shows as well. He had the presence, You just kind of hung on every word he said. He was just he just had this aura about him, and it was really good. It's a shame. I think I've been talking for far too long now. Well, we're 25 minutes in. I think I've spoke for the most
it's all
of it.
fun.
I do apologise.
No, it's what the show's about. It's also Daft Praxis. Thanks for popping in. And also, I think I've seen Yobi Heart Dragon. Dragon Heart Yobi. Thanks for popping in, mate. Also, Luke Steele has arrived. Welcome.
Yeah, if you have any CMA questions, talk to him in chat.
Oh, I bet he's like, oh no, I'm going to leave now. I've had enough. But yeah, no. Has that explained Destiny for everybody?
I could talk Destiny all night.
About Diablo.
can talk about Diablo if you want. How are you guys liking the Diablo 4 beta?
Well, let's talk to you, Stubbs, because you played it. You said you got to level 25. Did you say?
In what Diablo? Nah, I got to level 5.
Level 5?
Yeah.
So you didn't get past the tutorial then?
And that's like killing a few enemies. That is. Just, give it a go. It infuriates me because I had to make an account to play a fucking game on a console. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean?
How else are they going to send you emails of like, please pay for this, pay for that, pay for this?
Yeah, but Bethesda do the same crap as well. It's annoying. It is.
That's the way it is, though.
You leave Bethesda alone.
Oh,
our Lord and Saviour Todd Howard graces us.
I don't want their emails about
games.
fucking Starfield.
He's bringing us Indiana. No, forget Starfield. Indiana
Jones.
That's what we need. Where's Indiana Jones? I've got the new film to go and watch in the summer. I need the game. I need it. I need to get my hat. I need to get my whip. I need to get my pistol. I need to go and get some treasure.
See how Luke Steele's really liking.
I think that's
Diablo 4.
Euphemism for an SMN session that ABMG's telling us about.
Diablo 4 is basically crack distilled into gaming form. Bloody hell, he must love it. Wow. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That's good then. So how are you liking it, VJ and Removable Sanity?
VJ first?
No. Go ahead, Removable.
I played the Diablo 3, so I had a pretty good indication of what Diablo was going to be like. And in my head, I didn't spoil it for myself, so I didn't look into it as much as some other people. So for me, I thought it's just going to be Diablo 3 with some updated graphics and maybe a few different characters to play around with. And in fairness, it is very much more of Diablo 3, but I would say it's a much more polished experience, much more engaging and fun experience. I think obviously Diablo 3 was fun for those who played it, but I think this is much more of what Diablo 3 was, much better in terms of the gameplay loop as well, and it's also open world, which if those who don't know, Diablo 3 was pretty much down to 3 co-op people, if I'm correct. Please in the chat tell me if I'm wrong. So this is much more of an open world experience. The only gripe, and I said this to VJ, is I really hope there is an offline mode. Nothing personal to those out there, who wants to join in a bit of multiplayer, but I really would like to just maybe have a offline mode so then I can go through that world without having been connected online all the time. So, say the servers are overheating or something because they've got 4 people from Australia in there. I can still play the game and get through the story.
One person from Rutland joining in.
Oh, the servers died.
There's no offline mode. It's always online game.
Oh, God.
If you mention any questions, I can guarantee Luke will come up with the answer if you're talking away. He will.
It's at the... that frustrates me. As I said, it's if the servers go down or something goes wrong, you can't play the game, and I don't see. In my head, I can understand it. Maybe with you lose the open world boss battles, or the timed events that just turn up, but you still should be able to play through the story, without having an online mode. Okay, yes, you miss some of the timed events, or you miss some of the bosses and that, but I don't know. I always, that's the one gripe I always have with everything being online 24/7. And those in America, if you've got data caps, it's going to be a bit problematic for you, surely, depending on your data cap. I mean, I don't know about data caps.
I mean, that's the same thing for people that just play Fortnite all day long, isn't it? Always online. So you go in knowing that, because when you buy this game, it will tell you it's always online. It's
yeah, but the trouble is with that, it's got a huge story and gameplay that doesn't have to be online. I can understand Fortnite, that is a multiplayer designed experience. This, I would say, Diablo 4 is a single player experience with the benefit of having online, the open world experience with other players.
Luke's put, it's purely because they've incorporated these shared world elements. It's basically Destiny, but isometric at this point.
We've just basically said this, isn't I?
You did actually.
Yeah, before you came in, Luke, I was exactly the same thing. So there's no excuse now for Boardman to not try it out. But I mean, to be fair, even if you could still turn off, if you had an offline mode, okay, you lose those elements, but you could still complete the game, or still could go through it. And I don't know. I just think it's one of those things that if there's any issues like we had with the server. I mean, I posted it took me 41 minutes to get in when I first started because of the server issues.
Straight away, I was straight into the game. Boom.
Good. You were lucky. No, literally the second day, third day, no problems. But the very first day, it took me 41 minutes.
Like Saturday night. Not for long, mind. As you know, I give a game good 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Of a tutorial, yep, I know. Yeah. But that's the thing. So if you've got, as I said, I think it's options. Give us options. That is probably my biggest gripe with the game. That is it. Everything else, the beta is a beta. I don't, certain issues in terms of the server, certain graphical glitches, I'm just going to ignore because it's a beta.
Exactly.
But the always online mode, I've just that is putting me off. I must admit. BJ, you've kind of was with me throughout this whole weekend. What was your thoughts on it?
I mean, I've played a lot of 3D isometric games in my time, and I don't know why, but it took me back to the Mega Drive game, The Story of Thor, and then Smash TV and stuff like that. But games have moved on, haven't they? And I thought visually it was really, really good, and I thought playing it with somebody, obviously we played quite a bit together. I really enjoyed it, but then I found myself playing it in single player mode. So I'm kind of with you in the fact that it will be annoying if servers go down, but I'm not sure if that's why you predominantly want it to be a single player offline experience, because servers do go down in this modern day, or the fact that it may have different benefits, right? So I'm not entirely sure about that at the moment. And but yeah, I'm kind of coveting the game in terms of when it's coming out in, what is it, June the 6th? And I know we say this every week, and I hate to sound like a broken record. There's so many great games out there, and then we were sort of debating whether to go ahead and order it, and so on and so forth. And so the only thought I had is that as a beta, it was a really good experience. I really enjoyed the fact that you could play it over 3 days or 4 days. Or 4.5 days. I found myself going back to it on my own and not waiting for Removable, because he sometimes we seem to sort of quit at the same time, and then when we reconvene, he'd be like 17 levels ahead of me, and I'd wonder why. especially when he's got about 37 games to review and about 14 kids, and the 15th being Stubbs, which is sort of sent away to Rutland. But no, I'd have to give a sort of an approving review of what I've played so far. But as I was saying to Removable, I said in June, the back end of May and into June, you've got Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. You've got Final Fantasy 16, which just looks incredible. And you've got Diablo coming out. Then you've got E3. Who knows what's going to hit Game Pass during Xbox's presentation? I don't know what Sony's got lined up, but Game Pass is probably going to have a lot of games coming to it, out completely as part of their presentation. And so it's really a case of budget, and it's really a case of Game Pass, and really a case of how good Final Fantasy 16 is, and what else is announced between June and the end of the year, and how much time, regardless of budget. Then I think it's a case of how much time I've actually got to game, and then sort of plan out a schedule of what I'm going to play. Because I think we've already penciled in a bit of Redfall in May already, right? So yeah, it's just really a case of time it comes down to, and then picking and choosing the experiences that you want. But as I said, I think Diablo was really, really good. And if, like, for example, if sorry to pick on you, Removable, as the only other person I know that's actually any good at it, is that if Removable says, I'm definitely in, and then someone else says they're definitely in, and then it's definitely worth making the investment. Because I actually think that co-op, it was really, really good fun, especially when we both sort of venture off on our own separately. Removal would go off and find some items or weapons or accessories or armor that may be suitable for a sorcerer, which was the class I adopted, and then respectively I may do the same, and then being able to drop those items for each other very, very easily to help build each other's character up. I thought was another really cool feature, and I was reminding Removable about the clumsy drop ammo mechanism in Back 4 Blood, which was Evil came on one night and said, you can do this, right? We went, what, really? Because we kept running out of ammo.
Yes, right, yeah.
Masuko improved at the game dramatically when he actually had some ammo to load into his gun. So yeah, there's a combination of things. It's definitely a candidate up there for a game to purchase. Because BMG mentioned, was it Sherlock Holmes that you bought and haven't played?
Yeah, Chapter 1, the new one.
Age where wastage is sacrilegious, so I couldn't do that. If I bought the game, I would have to play it and finish it, right, to make it worthwhile. I'm not one of these people that will buy and just let it sit there and say I'll finish it, and then 3 years later wonder why didn't I finish it back then. And I really wouldn't want it to go to waste, but it's going to be up against some competition for sure, for me personally anyway, right?
Yeah, I've still got a few to play because I've got Sherlock's out there. I've got Jedi Fallen Order that I want to finish before Jedi Survivor drops end of April. And Sifu as well. I started Sifu. I struggled with it because I still don't quite understand the mechanics. So it's one of them that was good, takes advantage of the PS5 DualSense. But I've just struggled with the mechanics and how the game works. So it's one of them I think I'll come back to. And I believe that drops on, is it tomorrow? It drops
it's a rogue game. It is.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't do that, BMG. I would. I've got one or two games left I need to finish, and I will do that. Even games in Game Pass, I start them. I typically go back and finish. I was telling Removable that I went back and finished Jedi. Was it Fallen Order? About a year after I started playing it. I didn't really enjoy the game, to be quite honest with you. I know a lot of people do, and that's great, but I really didn't like it very much. But I thought I'd just finish it, and then the new one doesn't really inspire me either. But I think that, I don't know how you guys feel about Game Pass and stuff, but I think that whatever games announced to drop on the day of the next E3 event, whether it's a digital show separate from the event or physically at the event, I don't know what Microsoft.
No, it's separate.
Do. If there's a separate, in and around the E3, if they say this game,
Ubisoft even dropped out of it.
If Silk Song's dropping on the day, and they've got like 10 million people viewing in, right? Whatever game's announced on that day that's dropping that day or that week, is definitely going to bite into the sales, I think, of Diablo maybe the week before, and what do you call it, Final Fantasy the week later. But then again, a lot of people are made of money these days, so maybe everybody buys everything, right? But for me, I'd have to make a choice. So, and I said to Removable, look, it'll probably be around that time that I'll make the choice, because I'm not someone that has to have the game on day of release, so to speak. So that would be my approach anyway, and I think everyone's gone quiet because it's probably pretty crap.
No, it's a good approach. It is. It's a very busy. There's a lot of games coming out this year. I mean, you lot are probably after more games than me, because I've not seen that many games this year that I probably need to look in.
No, Removable. Do you see what Stubbs is doing there? He's already trying to weasel his
caveats
way
it. He's caveating it. Yep.
He knows he's not.
I can't.
He's now trying to weasel his way out playing Redfall with us and Masuka.
There isn't Redfall play. There's not that much coming out.
Chastise him, castigate him. Come on.
Plus, there's loads of indie games he could play now. He's got a PC. There's no excuse for him to say that he hasn't got
indie games on the PC. Actually, that's true.
And you haven't even played them, have you?
No.
See,
that's more to get my raw points done. But yes, shout outs to Port AFC. Thanks for popping in, and Invader Gaming. Thanks for popping in. But yeah, it's a busy year of games. I imagine that Xbox have got far more games to announce at that showcase, and you also get a load of PlayStation games that will be announced later in the year if they do a showcase.
Yeah.
Because
there's also Lords of Fallen coming soon.
Yeah. That ties in with the Lords of the Fallen. Is that the one that's used
that's
in
the second
Unreal 5 tech? Is it? Yeah.
I think it is. Yes.
Yeah. Because that's a good discussion, because the Unreal 5 tech is quite. I'm not an expert on this, but it's the metahuman tech where people seen Hellblade 2 and the visuals that they announced all showed off, and it was basically the technology that was doing the work, because they showed off a demo where a lady from Unreal 5 team, and she said a few words and a little bit into the camera, not much, and the software basically did it for them. It was incredible. They could change it from Fortnite looking to photorealistic looking. But it'll be interesting to see when these games actually launch what they look like, because showing off demos and it is great. It looks stunning, but we've yet to see it on the console. You see what I mean? It may not look the same. It will still look great, but it might not look what people have seen. That might be just the CGI part. But
the thing is, though, you've none of these new consoles we've got, neither of them, the PS5 or the Xbox 360 or the Xbox Series S, none of them have actually had an Unreal 5 game built from the ground up for the consoles. We haven't seen what either of these consoles can actually do to their full potential. All we're getting is optimized patches for cross-generation games. We've had a couple of games on each that's only for the consoles, but again, they're not in Unreal 5. I actually think what we've been seeing from Hellblade is what we're going to get. Once we're actually getting games in Unreal 5 running on these consoles, I think that is where we're going to see what they're made of. Whether it's good, whether it runs right, no one knows. We're not going to know until we've actually got the games. But I think we're going to be surprised, because we've got it embedded in, well, most of us have it embedded in us. We're shown one thing, but we get another.
I think BMG. Yeah, I think what people are seeing now is pretty much what we saw at the beginning of Unreal 4, right? It's that, hey, look, here's a new set of tools, because that's what an engine is, right? So it's got layers of tools, right, that you can use. It's showing me a couple of things, is that in this generation versus previous generations, is that, hey, look, these tools put game production more in the hand of the artists versus technical people just to make life a lot easier. And it can shorten game development time, but it can also enhance video games if they're given the same amount of time, because of the amount of volume of work that they can get through, and the iterative process made a hell of a lot easier. And I think what we're seeing right now from some of these Unreal Engine games is just saying, hey, look, whether it's a rendered cutscene, whether it's a vignette, whether it's a character model, whether it's a camera panning around an environment, is that this is what we can produce. But I think, like you say, BMG, when they start adding in layers of complexity, such as the code, the sound, the AI, within as in terms of the code, AI and all the other systems that they want to put in the combat, dynamic, conversations with characters, number of NPCs on screen, the visual effects, all that sort of stuff. When that's all layered in, it impacts the overall performance of the game, right? And I think that's the video that Mr. Stubbs was referring to, that tech demo for Lords of the Fallen. It says, look, this is all really great, but we can use GI, but we're going to also have to use emissive lighting and so on and so forth, because we just want to make sure that the performance stays where it needs to be for our games. Which right now, I'm not that familiar with the cutting edge games, but I'm assuming that games have still got this sort of like graphics mode versus performance mode, right? Are those the two main categories right now?
Yeah.
So I think, like with what Mr. Stubbs was saying, is that what we saw in terms of Hellblade, that's all great, and lots and lots of games can do that because the tools are there to do it, right? The hardware in terms of raw processing power is allowing you to do that, right? These complex rigs and so on and so forth that are built into Unreal to allow real performance capture and personality, and it all goes back to design. Are these characters going to be memorable? Are these environments going to be memorable? Is the story going to be memorable? Is your progress through the game in terms of the effect it has on you, and the progress and all that kind of stuff, and what your journey was like, is that going to be all memorable? So as I say, it's really going to go, it's going into the hands of the artists, designers and the storytellers, in terms of what can they produce, and will it stand out heads and shoulders above everything else. And what I will say is that even though the games are costing more to make and they're taking longer to make, there just seems to just be so many more of them. And this is why I was curious. I was talking to Removable, and I was saying to him, Removable, I don't know if I got this right, but I was watching the Final Fantasy 16 PAX East. It was about an hour-long presentation for Final Fantasy 16. It looked brilliant, and I thought, are they using the Luminous engine or the Crystal tools or whatever they've got their engine, or are they using Unreal 5? And actually, they're not using any of that. So I don't know what they're using, but from what I have seen, even at 1080p, in terms of real gameplay and real environments and real-time action, it looks incredible. But I'm with you, BMG, in terms of the fact that it's still early, right? The Unreal Engine 5 hasn't reached its sort of full Elden Beast
Will that be at the end of the generation?
Hey,
will it be at the end of the generation?
It would just be as good as the engine's only as good as the people that are wielding it, right? So whether it's when the PS4 came out, did we think that we'd see stuff like The Last of Us Part 2 or Red Dead Redemption or any other game that's or Final Fantasy 7 remake, which was speaking to Removable about how I've played it a couple of times, and I was so impressed in terms of what the Unreal Engine 4 could do. Obviously, they've got the raw engine, but they're layering in their own tools, right, for very specific gameplay elements and so on and so forth. So in all of that, I think that BMG, we may see some really great games towards the end of the year, early next year on Unreal Engine 5. But in terms of what it can potentially do, UE5 at the back end of this generation and maybe into the next, may dwarf, in terms of representation, it may dwarf or marginalize what we see sort of towards between now and in 5 years' time. And, that's my kind of take on it, based on what I've seen with Unreal 4, like in terms of what we saw. I don't know if you guys remember the tech demo for Unreal 4, right, when Epic released that, versus what it could do towards the end of the PS4 and the Xbox.
It's amazing.
End of the console life cycles. Yeah, it was just leaps and bounds.
It's movies, don't they, VJ?
But I think it's exciting if you're a gamer and you've upgraded it. Oh, Luke's saying it's a new engine. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, and it says it's specific. It's not
I am curious to find out.
It's on screen. It's not the Luminous engine. It's something specific to it's being built specifically for that game. But it does look incredible. He doesn't know what it is, but it's being built.
I'm wondering. Do you know? I wonder if Luke knows what engine Final Fantasy 14 used, because a strong portion of that production team is on Final Fantasy 16. So I don't know if that's it, and it's been reworked for Final Fantasy 16. I don't know, but I am curious.
It's gone quiet there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they can do, because it's, I always think back to like Watch Dogs when we first seen that and how amazing that looked to the actual game we got. So I do have reservations, but again, it's a new engine.
Better or worse? BMG, was that better?
Was Pete?
The very first.
Better or worse?
It was worse. No, what we got was a lot worse from what they showed us. Yeah.
It was a shame, really, because it was actually a really good game, and they had some did some unique stuff to it though that actually I haven't seen done previously, but they did it exceptionally well. So one of the things they did really well was mobile integration. So, say for instance, it's almost like did you play the mobile integration bit, BMG?
Play what? Sorry.
The mobile integration game.
No.
So on the first one, it was basically, say you could, the game is open world, you could basically hack into the light systems and all the equipment around the actual city and basically cause havoc for the person who was driving. It was a really good implementation of the game, and you just basically opened the app and you could join and cause problems for their game. You'd get some benefits, and they would get some benefits. Really good integration, but graphical-wise and fidelity-wise, yeah, there was a very big downgrade to what was showcased.
Yeah. The closest I got to mobile integration game was it Battlefield 4, where one of these was like the commander, and you had it on the iPad, and I used to do that. That's as close as I've got to that. And that was fun. That worked quite well.
Some of it, when it was actually, it's really good. That was those little things where you're helping your team out or something. That's great.
Yeah. So it's someone who couldn't play the game, could access it that way and still be part of it, help towards victory or defeat. But yeah, I've still got a few reservations, but I remember how far technology's come now. They've got this new engine that they're still learning. They're still figuring things out with, and it's new. And anything we new, it takes time. There's going to be, places where they trip up, they try stuff that may or may not work, and they learn from it. It's a learning curve. But yeah, I think it's going to be, like you say, VJ, towards the end of the generation, really, where we're going to see what they can do. Whether we get mid-gen refreshes that, these 0.5 consoles, Series X 0.5, whatever they're going to call it, gives them even more power and whatever else they need to use to help this along. But yeah, I think we're not really going to see exactly what Unreal 5 can do on the console space until the next generation, which we know they're working on. So it'd be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to it.
I think the mid-gen refreshes will happen, and I think that the signs are there, and I think that with the Unreal Engine, in terms of what they can do already, just without straining, basically, without having to really flex, is really great already. Because I don't know if you've played RE4. When you look at Lady Dimitrescu, if you look at what the Dragon Engine can do on the last generation, facial animation and stuff like that, and even general motion, right? It's for the human body, it's fantastic what they can do. But I just think that the tools within Unreal are just that next level, and I think that as we were saying, they'll be able to define it and harness it more and more so as the years go by, because a lot of this stuff takes years to do, right? So it'll be really, 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 really interesting. And as I said to you, they'll be refining those tools because when they take it out of the box Unreal, they don't just use it as it is, right? They customize certain aspects or pull or place their own tools inside, which they think might be better. And that's what's so good about Unreal. You're not stuck with what you've got. You are to a degree, but in terms of, I don't remember Unreal, but I remember I was playing like BioShock 1, 2, and 3, and then I played Gears, and then all of a sudden I thought, you know what? I know these games are very different, but they all render very, very similarly. And that's the only criticism not criticism, but there was the only hurdle that I thought, how do they overcome this, right? How do developers overcome this in terms of getting games to render how they want them to look? Because I don't want to go on about Elden Ring, but if you look at Elden Ring, Bloodborne, the Souls games, Sekiro, if you see a screenshot from one of those games or a video without a title, without the fact that it's From Software, you can tell it's a From Software game because their engine just displays content on the screen in a visual style that represents their studio and their game engine. If that makes sense. Maybe it's just me seeing it that way, but I'd love to hear what you guys think.
Hasn't Elden Ring just got a new patch? Was it dropped a couple of days ago?
Yeah, 1.09, I think. Yeah.
So how are you playing Elden Ring on PC or console?
Something wrong with your mic, BMG.
Oh, hang on. I'll unplug and plug back in, so I'll be back in a minute.
Translation: he's nipping to the kitchen for a beer.
Yeah, pint of snake bite.
Sonic Hedgehog.
He can pee into the jar when he's playing 17 hours of Destiny 2 straight.
Well, I got a chance. Shout outs to UK Dazarus. Thanks for popping in. And Sentinel. Thanks for popping in. And Daz is calling this the bold cast. There's only 2 bold people on the show. But okay.
Is that better, guys?
Yes, that's sorted.
Yeah. All we've got to do is hit the microphone a couple of times with the hole puncher, and it works. That's how I was brought up. I brought up when technology and stuff.
Hit it with an hammer.
Hit it with a hammer.
Turn it on and off.
And it generally works. Hit it a couple of times, it works fine. You ever watch Armageddon, where the Russian astronaut, he starts bashing the hell out of them of the stuff on the shuttle, and it works. Yeah.
It's true.
Have you played Elden Ring, BMG?
Yes, I did pick it up. I started playing it. I couldn't get past the stupid guy at the start on the horse. He just seemed to have it in for me. No matter how I tried going round him, he just kept killing me. And I went, you know what? This game, because that was the first actual Souls-like game I played, and I was like, this really isn't for me. So I went straight on to Xbox, said, my son bought this by mistake, and they gave me a full refund straight away. Not my kind of game. I really struggle with it, if I'm honest. It's I gave it a try, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, the Erdtree Sentinel. I think you refer. Is he referring to the Erdtree Sentinel removable? He is.
He's not
Scion, is he? No,
he's Erdtree Sentinel, I suspect, and.
Yeah, so basically, the Erdtree Sentinel there at the beginning of the game, BMG, when you walk out from the cave, and you see the whole world there. Basically, it's showing you the whole world, and the Erdtree Sentinel there is actually a really, really tough, how can I put it, field boss, and it's supposed to give you an idea of you've actually got nothing whatsoever. That's a really tough boss, and you're supposed to actually just skip past him and get to the first church and follow the site, because the first site of grace has a ray of light, pointing in the direction you need to go. So it's actually telling you where to go, and it's pointing to the first church. I forgot what the church is called now. And there's a merchant there, and you speak to him, and that's where actually the game starts. The field boss is just there just to give you a gauge of what you're going to come up against. But as you play the game, as you progress through the game, and after the second site of grace, you start to get, your armor, your weapons, you get a spirit belt, you get your steed, and the game points you where you need to go in terms to level up and understand the control system and everything. And then you head back to the tree sentinel, that big field boss, sort of draped in gold armor, right, on a horse, and then you make mincemeat out of him, and that's it's a very similar to Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like when you start that game, there's these sort of mechanoid creatures with sort of various limbs and red lights glowing in them, and they make mincemeat out of you straight off the bat. But again, you start with nothing, and it's just trying to show you, the kind of enemies that are out there. I'm not saying that it can't be defeated, because it probably can, if you're an expert. But
not really. It can be defeated. You just know how to cheese it, because that's how I did it. Remember?
Yeah, I was trying not to talk about cheese too much. but then again, remember, you had arrows, right? You went and you got your arrows and you came back. But
I found a spot on a roof, basically just arrowed him to death.
But remember, at the same time, if you're 15 hours into the game and you come up against those field bosses or the knights, the Black Knights during after midnight and stuff like that, they can be tough. But once you know how to use the character, use the controls, you can actually overwhelm them pretty easily.
It's all about progression. Those games, it's those games. You go back after 20 hours or 25 hours, and they're like cheese. They just fold so easily, because you've learned quickly enough to how to deal around with it. And also, unfortunately, I think you probably didn't get any summons either. And summons help dramatically if you are struggling. Their summons are basically almost like NPC characters. They can just come on, and in some cases, depending on the actual summons, can take the boss on itself on its own.
All right. Oh, yeah, I don't, it's one of them. I think I probably didn't give it a fair. Well, I definitely didn't give it a fair.
You just didn't have a gun.
No, that's it. Where was my jump, my grenades, my melee attack?
So I'm just thinking, you want a Dark Souls game with a gun. So you're probably thinking Remnant
or Bloodborne.
No, I'm just thinking actually Remnant. The Remnant. Did you ever play that one?
I've heard of it, but I've not played it.
Amazon, you can actually buy Elden Ring, open it, try it for 2 days or so, tell them you don't like it, send the disc back, and they'll give you a full refund.
Yeah, I got a refund. I didn't have a problem with a refund.
No, there's physical discs. They actually give refunds.
That's right.
Even if you tried it.
Oh, do they?
What's a disc? Because my brother got my dad it on the PS4. He didn't really like Elden Ring, and my brother applied for the refund, and he said just send it back, and they refunded it.
I don't know how much more I can take of this.
Refund.
No. Elden Ring talk. When blasphemous Elden Ring talk.
Elden Ring. I ain't trying it.
We're trying to talk about how good the game is, and so I've got a refund. Oh, I can take it back. Oh, you can get your money back for it even today.
Basically, this is Stubbs. Remember, Stubbs. If it's not a refund, he's not really interested. Stubbs has continued the blockbuster tradition from the 80s and 90s well into the 2000s. If he's got that mentality. It's like get a game, don't like it, get it back.
Game Pass. That's what it is. Just try a game, delete it, delete it.
Did you hear they are thinking about bringing some more Blockbuster stores?
Are they? Why?
It's in America. I don't know, but apparently they may be coming back. So, and the person who it was Clowns online who told me that.
Toys R Us was coming back in this country. They've still not reappeared.
No, I did liquidation, and didn't they have liquidation?
Yeah, they did, but somebody said that someone bought the rights to it, and the shops are coming back.
Maybe
Smith Toys are got it now in the UK.
Yeah.
They're the big boys.
I used to love Toys R Us. I used to every year when my kids were little. I used to go to Toys R Us, and not the kids, myself, used to go and set off all the toys as we're going round, so they were all going, making noise. That was the best thing to do in Toys R Us. And then pull one of them cars off the shelf and start going around the shop in it until one of the shop assistants told you to stop.
Really? I don't think that far.
I used to love doing that.
Because I remember when they got their classic advert, didn't they? When the UK one year, they decided to change the advert. Well, people went bananas. They changed the advert back. You can't change the advert.
No. But yeah, if you're into Blockbuster, that may very well be going back. I'd like to see Blockbuster come back because I've still got
back to UK. I hope.
What?
I hope it don't. I still own £22.
Blockbusters.
I've still got my membership card. I was hoping that I'd get my a loyalty. I might get some sort of loyalty discount because I've still got it.
Fall of Blockbuster was kind of their own fault. It was. They didn't try and
adapt.
No, who was it? I think
Netflix.
It was that.
They didn't believe in the streaming platform Netflix.
Yeah, that was it. But but who was it? There was a company that was offered when Netflix wasn't worth a lot. They were offered to acquire them. I believe it was Blockbuster passed on acquiring them, and it was the biggest mistake they ever made.
I mean, everybody makes mistakes, right? Not everybody. Just because you're brilliant a businessman doesn't necessarily when you hit upon something and you ride a wave. It doesn't necessarily mean you have vision, right? They're not. What's that word in Removable? They're mutually
exclusive.
Yeah, mutually exclusive. They are mutually exclusive.
But to be honest with you, let's face it. If Blockbuster had got hold of it, would Netflix become as popular as it had?
Exactly,
because their management may have completely totaled it.
That's true.
But you can't criticize Blockbuster. I mean, they did what they needed to do. They built a really good business, but you know,
and there is at least one store still surviving and thriving in America.
In Rutland, I heard.
We did have one. That's long gone. That has.
Yeah. But even in business or where, even game studios, even developers, right? Every dog has its day. There's very, very few creators that can sort of strive or continually make strides over decades, right? It's very, very rare. It's not everybody that can do it. And
what is the oldest so far in terms of even just a? It's not. I wouldn't say game brand. What's the oldest game brand that's still going? That's doing exceptionally well.
Oh, it's not Atari then.
Well, that's one thing I was thinking. Is Atari's still going? It is still making money. So is it Atari?
They just bought a new studio.
Money removal.
Yeah,
it's changed hands. It's changed ownership several times for very little amounts of money. So it's a brand that still continually exists. But in terms of games companies or brands that continually grown and are probably Nintendo. Would it be
Sega?
Capcom, Nintendo. You have to think back to the old arcade games, right?
Capcom. It must be. It was Sega and Capcom then.
Yeah, probably Sega, Nintendo.
Yeah, but Sega had to change though, didn't they?
Sega were acquired, right? So do you want to include companies that were acquired? Because then that if not, then
I would say not. No, I think we're Nintendo then has probably been the one that has kept its.
What were they doing before? Yeah, they were making. What was it after the World War? They started making card games and stuff like that.
It was card games and shoes because the very first, was it Japanese? The very first Nintendo shop was selling. That was also another thing that I spotted online. It was I'm sure it's like card games and shoes they were selling.
I think it was. I think it'd be off the top of my head the one you can remember that's gone on that hasn't really been tainted or gone under significant amount of change other than at board level is probably Nintendo.
Yeah,
they've had their peaks and troughs.
I think I've actually still
at the height of their existence. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, BMG.
No, I was going to say, I think I've still got, it's in my mum's and dad's house loft. Remember the robot that came out for the Nintendo? I've still got that. Yeah, the little robot. He was one of the accessories to the.
I know what you're talking about.
Nintendo. Yeah, and it helped you on games, or it was meant to help you on games, and it was useless. That, and I've still got somewhere the.
You could probably use it for Destiny 2.
That'd be cool if it did. Oh, I've still got the Power Glove. That might work.
No, we know what you use the Power Glove for.
VR.
VR.
Except it's not really a Power Glove now. It's more of like a sticky glove.
Feels
Mr. Stubbs,
like someone else is doing it for you.
Oh dear, conversation descending into the mire quite rapidly. Mr. Stubbs, you put up a couple of Luke's messages. Was that for me? Was it or?
That was earlier.
Yeah, I saw those messages. I didn't know if you wanted to sort of echo those sentiments. It was just that I was looking around, but I haven't seen anywhere officially where Square Enix have come out and said it's a brand new engine. Maybe I've missed it. So I was just asking if there was anything official or a video or anything that I could reference to, because as far as I've seen, they've said it's not the Luminous engine, not Unreal 5 or 4, but they haven't actually said what it is or what it's made up of, or if it's completely brand new, or if it's or if it's a revamped internal. They really haven't said. So if Luke's got something that he's heard,
I haven't seen it unless I missed it in chat. Did he mention something in chat?
I don't know.
Engine, but he did say he wasn't sure what the engine was. He said it's a new engine, specific to the new game. But
I didn't know if he meant that it was. He thought it was a new engine, or whether he'd heard or seen something official stating the fact that it was a new engine. That was the distinction I was trying to make.
Reply in chat, Luke.
He thinks it's a new engine. He just has. Yeah, he's just posted now.
Yeah, they told SkillUp that in the interview he did a few weeks ago, and they reconfirmed and confirmed it was a new engine.
Was a new engine, yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'll dig it up. He's going to go and have a look.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Yeah, when he says dig it up, I thought he meant BMG's Power Glove, but never mind.
Oh yeah.
Stubbs is now thinking about it.
All we can see now is the Power Glove.
The meta doesn't work at the minute.
Doesn't work well with the Nintendo, but it's got other uses when you push on the vibration button.
Removable.
Yes.
Why is Stubbs playing some sort of video when all we really want is gameplay?
You want gameplay, dear?
Gameplay, please.
What do you want?
We don't want to hear about the mythical Gears 6, which may never arrive. We just want to see gameplay.
It will be called Gears of War 6. Thank you very much.
Oh, is that because he's your new best friend?
I have been speaking to him. But nothing about the game at all. Obviously, he can't.
Has he actually been confirmed he's working for them now, or is he still just putting these...
No, he's working for them.
And that's actually confirmed? Because I know he's been put these polls up and asking all these questions, but has he officially
all these insiders and all these websites have been saying he is, that they obviously know more than I do.
But I can't understand why it's something they wouldn't officially announce or show, or he actually put it on his, his profile thing, LinkedIn and what have you. Because it's not on there, is it?
The problem we've got is though the problem you've got is because the Coalition and Xbox haven't officially confirmed they're working on Gears of War 6, or have they? They can't.
Yeah.
Oh, they have.
They have. Yeah. They announced that they are working on it, but if you remember, they said they were working on it, but then they was also working on a smaller title for Unreal 5, like it was going to be a smaller game, which they then canned and moved everyone over onto Real. Yeah, moved everyone onto Gear 6.
No one knows if they canned it. That was just a rumour.
Yeah, well, it was never officially announced, but they were working on something, but whatever's gone on,
they probably made it.
Whatever it was.
They probably made it. It wasn't something they were going to release to the public.
Maybe.
They probably realised that it's time's better spent working on the new game.
We don't need another Gears of War.
I don't believe everything they say.
We don't need another Gears of War. We've literally had 5 games, which is the exact same story, with a fresh coat of paint. Don't need any more Gears. It's one of them franchises that should go where Halo is. And E.T. Where E.T. is, that's where they should go.
It's $1 billion franchise.
He's just afraid of the competition that it'll make for Destiny 2. That's the only reason why he's really saying it.
It's not a first-person shooter, that.
Just to make you feel better.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking. I'm trying to see what role he's got. And I'm going to have to ask him, are you working on the next Gears game? He might not reply.
Ring him live on the show.
It does say creative director, but it obviously doesn't say of what game. But he makes it seem like he's working on the game. He must be.
Would it be funny though?
Let's ask someone neutral. Removable. Would you be excited for Gears 6? Would it make the top 10 or top 5?
I enjoyed Gears 5, but it wasn't a patch on Gears 2 and 3. I wasn't as invested with the new characters, and they really it's not as gritty as well. They really need to make it grittier, really kind of flesh out these new characters a little further. Give them some trauma, give them some pain, real proper. Which we can experience with it. One of the reasons that I think Gears 1 and Gears 2 worked so well was that we saw them go through the hell and pain and trauma of those two games, where 5 they've just appeared, and there's no real. No backstory, or no. Well, there is a backstory, but there's no real shared experience with those characters to kind of knit you towards them, and, empathize with them. And so I'm hoping if they are going to do 6, I want that dark, gritty thing where we're going to see them struggle, so that we can empathize with them, and so that the series itself can then grow. Because let's face it, Marcus isn't getting any younger, and if they want that series to grow, they're going to have to either kill it and go to a different timeline, or go somewhere go into a completely different.
That's why they've been pushing Kate Diaz.
Yeah, but it's what I'm saying is there was nothing there to. At least for me, this is just a personal thing. For me, there was nothing there to for me to link to or empathize with, or she just seemed like a wasted character. She just turns up and then she's got the key, and I'm like, well, come on, give us give us something a little bit more oomph than it. With even with Marcus.
Even the fact that her grandmother's Queen Raina.
Yeah, it kind of just
Raina,
like. Yeah, it's just like oh come on, it's just like
there's no empathy with the way that the character is drawn and portrayed, and that's the problem.
That's exactly it. Yeah, at least look at Marcus, right? He was imprisoned. You don't really find out why. Yeah, they go through the whole story of why he was imprisoned. You go through all the crap and hell he has to go through. Even the fact that he loses close friends as he's going through that experience.
In the book, because I've been listening to. I finished it now, Cliff Basinski's book, and I wrongly gave Rod Ferguson a lot of stick over Gears 4 and 5, but hearing what he did, he basically Gears of Epic Games was a tiny studio at the time, very small team, and he came over from Microsoft because Microsoft didn't trust Epic Games to deliver the game on time, and he came over and he worked on it. He says, "Oh no, Marcus has got to be a war hero." What do you mean? They need a story to gravitate to, and they didn't understand a lot of that. And he taught people. And he actually resigned from Microsoft. Microsoft paying him a lot of money to work at Epic Games. But he said he resigned from Microsoft, took a massive pay cut, and worked at Epic Games at a massive reduction. Because, believe it or not, it's in the book though, he actually loved Gears of War. He worked for Epic Games up to Gears of War 3. And then when Tim Sweeney said that they were going to work on a new project, a new game, because Gears of War won't be cool forever. As VJ, we talked on the phone, VJ said about BioShock Infinite. He got an opportunity to work on BioShock Infinite and moved on. But he loved Gears of War. Then he came back and worked on Gears 4 and 5. But that guy, he understands what it means to make a game. I know people are critical of 4 and 5, but without him, the building blocks of Gears of War might not be.
Oh, I don't get me wrong, but I think
I learned loads from that.
It's like capturing the spark again, you know. And it's just unfortunate. I think
we don't need. We need gritty, but we don't need a survival horror game. That's not what Gears is about.
No. But as I said, you need the empathy with the characters, and none of the young characters.
You need the grittiness and the scariness.
No. I think what Removal, and forgive me, Removal. I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I think the problem with Gears 5 was that it was very faint and very dull in terms of the fact that the way that the characters were designed, it wasn't with any heart. And I think what people want is Gears 6, 7, 8, whatever it's going to be called, whatever the next game is, for any game for that matter, and the ones that are the most popular, is because there's a lot of thought that goes into them, and it's because people put their heart into it. That's why Elden Ring, as much as you hate it or love it from a gameplay perspective, but the story, the lore, etc., is partly the reason why it's gone on to sell 20 million units, because most games are devoid of such, design. You can put a story under design, couldn't you? Technically,
technically, yeah.
So and that's why certain games have an undeniable attachment rate to them, right? I'm not saying that every game has to be gritty or horror. I mean, it could be bloody Mario for anyone cares. But
there's something. There's got to be characters to gravitate towards. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Gravitate. Both using the same words now.
Because, like in the original trilogy, you obviously had Marcus's story. It's a war hero, and you obviously had
Dom's.
Dom. What happened with Dom's wife? That's still an emotional scene, even
who's the old
years later.
Stubbs, who's the old geezer?
Marcus Phoenix.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
They tried to create empathy through, obviously, if you haven't played Gears of War 5, if you make a decision and you kill off his son, I felt empathy for that, but it's not on the level. It's not on the level. It's not on the level.
That was silly. That's a perfect example there. They go, you can kill off a character that you haven't even invested your time into. No. So why would you care? Now, if they had said something like that, of like, oh, okay, you're going to kill off Dom after 3 games, you are being heavily invested in that character. Just some young, it's his Phoenix's son. We didn't learn anything much about him. There was so little there. In fact, he was kind of unlikable. I was just like, all right, fine, whatever.
What you'll find is, though, a coalition have probably chosen the path. This whole, you're going to Gears of War 6 with the way you play Gears of War 5 is not going to happen. It's going to be chosen for you. And what they'll do is, there's been a lot of interviews where they've spoken about what they could do potentially. And they've called them dark memories. So the person that actually died, the timeline the coalition choose, you can still play that character in the game even though he's dead.
Exactly. But
that's what they're going to do.
Shows you, that tells you already, just by that choice alone, that it was a wrong choice. It hadn't. There was no real.
That's going to survive, don't you?
Well, it's but the trouble is, I say is, there was no investment there. There was none of the young characters, which is a shame, invested me. And I think it's because they didn't go through the journey. They were trying to push your investment too early on. They needed that game 5 to be a slow burner, go through, learn about these characters, go through another range of hell, for these characters to grow and develop, and then do that maybe at 6.
So is that a design issue?
Must be a design issue.
No.
Someone's clearly said, look,
just get it done.
yeah. It felt like 1, 2, and 3. 5 felt like 1, 2, and 3 all put together in 5, but shortened. And that was the worst thing. It was just like I felt like it was like a reduced 1, 2, and 3 storyline, quickly shortened for 5, with new characters. And I was like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. You need time. You need to progress, and you need time as a character to grow, and you need to grow with it. There was no growing with these new characters. I didn't grow with them.
And only then do you attempt the Tree Sentinel.
Exactly.
Are you listening, BMG?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Because we're all going to club together, and that's the only birthday present you're going to get for the next 10 years.
The only characters I can remember from Gears is the Phoenix and Coltrane. That's about it.
Best ones.
But the games, all the games are pretty much the exact same. I played them all. I have played them all. I played them with a friend, but
I would definitely say do you know what it is? First one was darker and gritty, and then second one was much more action. Do you know it kind of replicated for me? One was like Alien, and 2 was like for Aliens. They ramped up and then 3 was kind of like, how do we tie this all together? And then 4, do you know what? 4, I can't even quite remember. That's how bad it was.
5 was, I just found it boring. I didn't find it interesting. I didn't connect with the characters.
Yep.
I like a game where you've got that sort of emotional connection. You're really rooting for them. You want to have a proper, impact on these characters and the decisions you make. But I think the only thing I remember of Gears 5 really is that bird's mum or grandma or something was doing one of the alien people and you were related somehow. Whatever happened there.
I can BMG, you said those words. That's what I said about the old geezer. I can imagine Stubbs there, right, sitting back in his wingback leather seat, digging his nails into the leather of his arms there, going, "What the hell are you sat in?"
I'm biting my tongue with all this slander.
Keep going.
No, the story could be far better than it is. To be honest, it could be. You don't understand the Swarm War, so you don't understand the story, do you?
Yeah, but
hang on a minute. Hang on. The DLC did a better job of telling us about those characters than the whole of.
I agree, because it was written by somebody different, by a completely different writer.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
And I felt like shouts to Crispy Bomb in chat, and I agree with him. I do believe that Gears of War 6, it will be called that, will be more reminiscent graphically, obviously, because Gears of War 5 was made in Unreal 4, and Gears of War, what's it called? Hive Busters DLC was made with like Unreal 4.5.
It's not even a graphical fidelity. There was more heart and story in that DLC than the entirety of Gears 5.
It has to be linear. Gears of War is linear.
No. That doesn't have to be linear, because let's look at it. Gears was never linear. Gears had alternative paths.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, the fact that they tried to make a Gears of War semi-open world, which that's where they went wrong with Gears 5.
No, I think it would have worked if if the story and the characters were likable, but they weren't. I could see the fact they could go semi-open world and almost like you grow those characters together, but it wasn't. It was just literally thrown on your lap, and it's like, well, here's some new characters. Deal with it.
Yeah, and I think the slight change in the way that the world's designed affects the pacing of the game, which also then will affect the narrative, and it has a compound effect in terms of your engagement with it. That's one of the things I found, and I'm not a Gears expert by any means.
I can agree with that to some degree, but I think if they've got some good writing and there's some good writing in the side missions, sometimes the side missions or these open world side missions can actually help grow the character that you're trying to be with.
I'm not saying the approach is wrong. I'm just saying the way that it's been executed or designed and executed doesn't marry the two facets of the game together correctly, or on point, or in balance, or in harmony.
Well, so the old bird, which was a mum, whoever she was, so the bit I might be missing, so she was like banging all these hive. So does that make her the woman you play? Does that make her granddad?
She's Marlene. You're talking about Marlene.
All right, Marlene. So she. So she was like doing all these hive, and
what do you mean? I don't get what you're asking.
Well, who's the old bird? The old bird that the queen.
Dot Cotton.
Right.
Dot
Cotton. Right. So Dot Cotton, she was banging the hive.
No.
Which makes the one of the hive is like.
But she's not. What you understand is Queen Mira is not alien. She's human.
I get she's human, but she's the queen of all them, so she must have been doing something with them. Come on, this is the real story. This is what we need a game about.
Well, if people need, if people need a lore, they'd understand it.
So one of them hive things isn't her granddad or dad.
Queen Mira, you went into the Hope facility, New Hope. There's a lot of lore in there about Queen Mira.
Pretend that I know what you're talking about.
Well, if you don't pay attention to the lore, you won't. That's the problem. In the New Hope,
so she was getting around a bit. Essentially, what you're saying, she was getting around a bit with the hive.
It's quite. I mean, to be honest, it's quite rough. I mean, they experimented on children. You see, in that New Hope research, it's quite. Yeah.
She was experimenting, all right.
No, it was to try and make berserkers, and they're all females.
Oh, so I think Masuko's got it right that BMG handed Elden Ring back when got a refund on Elden Ring when he did, because if he was talking about Elden Ring right now, I'd be. Oh my goodness!
Oh, I wouldn't even try and understand Elden Ring.
The lore of Gears of War is absolutely incredible, and you are right, BMG. You need to explore that lore and turn it into more storyline, because there are parts of Gears 4 and 5 where they skip certain bits and certain bits have happened. And they don't.
Bridget,
how did she become queen then?
How have we got 2 removables?
Oh,
somehow.
Which one do I remove?
There's 2 of them. Removable. What do you think of the other removable?
Look, I thought clearly I felt overwhelmed. There's not enough of me on the screen, so I thought I'd try and see if I could make that work.
So Stubbs. So how did she become queen then? I skipped quite a lot of the stuff because I don't like going reading all the documents.
I'd have to make a podcast on that because I've got crispy bombs in chat and I'll probably get something wrong.
So did she get
crispy on?
Did she have a thing with the hive? Was she married to one of them? Was it a fling and it turned into something more and she became queen?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
All of the above, BMG.
All the above.
I'm going to plant a snake bite.
Off the top of my head, I cannot remember. But...
Oh, she's a little minx, isn't she?
She is human, though.
Yeah, but I don't understand how she got where she was. It was the more going on. Where we need the love interest, we need to know what. There could be a whole game on that.
Some of that is in Gears 5. She was a scientist.
Yeah, it was a slightly skipped over, slightly kind of semi-quickly talked about. But
if you look on the walls and some of the pictures.
Yeah, basically, BMG just wants to see alien tentacle porn, and he was hoping that Gears was going to bring it.
I'll get you a video because there's a lot of creators I know that have made videos on this stuff with short videos on them.
What kind of videos? The ones that Removable just mentioned, or something else?
Gears of War lore, because there's that much on it.
Oh,
but
so there's that. So there's gear porn out there.
Well, saying that though,
100% there is gear porn out there. Yeah.
Deep and as confusing. Well, actually, the Destiny lore is even more confusing than the Gears. It is.
Gears
just the more put together.
Porn. I'm gonna have to Google this.
I've got a question for Removable. What's, in your opinion, because I'm not familiar with the studio, what is the best piece of content, full game, doesn't matter what format, even if it's DLC, that the Coalition has put out?
I think that the Hive Busters DLC was a fantastic DLC, and it kind of brought back what I'd like to.
That's the top piece.
Recently, I can't say it's the best they've ever done, because to be honest with you, I still have very fond memories of 1 and 2.
But those weren't by Coalition, right?
Yeah, I know it entered. I know Crispy Bomb in chat. I know Gears 5 answers a lot of the questions these guys are asking, but they missed it.
Oh my god, there's some really freaky shit on there.
What, you actually looked it up?
Yeah. Oh, it's on Pornhub as well.
Oh my god.
Kratos, what are you doing to Freya? No, that's it. I'm done googling that.
No, I think that Gears of War 6 will go in more of a. It will be more of a Hivebusters kind of style game, and if to go with that, the story and narrative would be great because it was very well put together. But I do think RemovableSanity is here again.
I know he's not answering my questions.
Oh, for crying out loud! What's going on here?
I'll remove the other one for you.
Yeah, you're gonna remove the old one, are you? Okay.
So, what would? Because, like I say, to me, and I'm probably way wrong, but literally all the Gears games seem to be the same thing. It's this Locust, Hive, whatever you call them, War, and it just seems to be the same thing for every game. What would you like to see in the new one, which could actually maybe bring new fans into the genre Gears of War franchise?
From a
what would they have to
or multiplayer perspective?
From the campaign perspective, what would they need to do to not, I wouldn't say reboot, but
move the franchise to 343?
No.
Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Would you like a different story?
If you want to destroy the game, give it to 343.
But would you want a different story?
That's a bit harsh. Come on.
No, because you have to. You can't just because we're in with a new trilogy, with the Swarm War. You have to tie up the Swarm War end. You can't just move on.
Wouldn't you rather have a new enemy come in, take out this?
What are all these euphemisms?
Swarm?
The Swarm War. You got to complete the Swarm War. You say.
What's the Swarm War?
It's the war you're currently in. You've played the games, you should know.
I've never heard it called Swarm War. It's just the same game. It's usually you fight the guys that come out the ground.
Yeah, but the Swarm War is the war you're in currently. That's what you're fighting for.
Ah, I never got that. Okay.
I don't know how. It is there, but a lot of people don't pay attention to a lot of stuff in the game. They don't take it in. They probably listen to music or whatever while they're playing it.
I like the bit where you had to. I can't remember. Is it Gears 2 or 3? The one where you had to stay in the light, not the dark, because then back
one
would rip you apart. It was one. Sorry.
Yeah. And that was the Krell.
Yes.
Basic and. This is what I'm saying. That's why it was a bit more. I'd say the one was a bit more like Alien because you had to be slow and methodical because if you failed to go through it, you would be torn apart. Second was very much more of an action sequence, and so both had their unique experiences. But that's why I think they should bring back kind of one sort of style. It worked because in a way I kind of felt like you got too overpowered, where with one it was like, no, you are not overpowered at all, you are fighting for your life to get through this war. That's what I kind of liked, and you grew with the character because of it. But Stubbs didn't play one, did you, Stubbs? You played 2 first, then 1.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
With the
General Ram.
General Radon.
General Ram.
General Ram. That was an
held him out for a
absolute
few games. Amazingly scary character.
Yeah, and also an absolute sod to kill on insane difficulty.
That sounds like General Radon.
Probably, but I tell you what, I think Ram was probably a bit harsher, because that boss fight is horrendous. It is truly horrendous on insane difficulty. You have to be pretty good to complete it on insane. I don't think there's many people who've completed on insane difficulty.
Stubbs?
No, I haven't. No.
BMG?
Sorry, I was reading chat.
I thought that'd be your response. Yep, Karen removal.
I know. I was just thinking then when you was talking about General Ram. What if a bombshell drops the next game and that turns out General Ram was actually your granddad? Boom.
Bit predictable. I'd want something a little bit more, because they did that was it they kind of tried a new wave of enemies with the fluorescent, bugs that are infecting the locusts. It's like, oh no, this is a completely different enemy type, and it's like, do you know what?
Sorry, go on.
I kind of actually enjoyed one or two where you knew who your enemy was and they were just evil. And then you that was it. It wasn't too. I think sometimes people make it too complicated.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
I think I'd like to see with the new Gears, because I don't get that. I did enjoy playing them. To me, the story was all the same. I didn't really follow the lore, but I think maybe if they could do a soft reboot of the franchise, kind of like how God of War did it from the original games into the 2018, not a full reboot, but go back to the roots of Gears 1, but maybe change
historically, if they did historical references, I could see how that works. If they wanted to, prior to Hive Wars or something, or prior to something else, I could probably see that going forward, but I would kind of stay away from at least Gears 1, 2, and 3. Just keep that as what it was. That was a time. I'd kind of put, it's a tough one. They need to build up some of these characters. They've set these new characters now. They need to make us like them, and that's going to be tough.
Or do what Disney did. Forget a load of the stuff existed and then just make their own lore up. Let's forget Gears 4 and 5 and then just carry on from 3.
Or the perfect example, do the sitcom situation when it comes to that. It was all a dream. 4 and 5 was all you just see him wake up.
Oh, that's right. And you find Bobby Ewing in the shower. Marcus Phoenix in the shower. Sorry.
Yeah. So even Stubbs is now thinking about this.
Marcus Phoenix in the shower.
Probably.
I bet he's probably got his head in a pillow, screaming right now, was defiling Gears of War.
Come on, Stubbs, steer this show back on track.
He can't. He's right now. He's trying to look. You know what? He's probably opened up that secret private browser looking at Gears porn.
No, he's on the third carriage adrift from General.
Welcome, Carlo, from 4GQ TV. Welcome to Indie Gamer. Thanks for popping in.
Well, he's speaking to. I was talking about Carlo earlier in the show.
Just let Indie Gamer know that we've mentioned Silksong at least once.
We have.
Yeah, I said it's a game that shouldn't exist.
Oh
God!
I've not played the first one.
Don't tell me you haven't played Hollow Knight, BMG.
I haven't played Hollow Knight. This is where I normally get shamed. I don't really play indie games because I don't find them that interesting.
Removable.
I've not found one that I've connected with.
No, that's a much better answer. Actually, his last one is I haven't found one that's connected, and that I can understand because I was there myself. And generally, the path of indie games is, it's strangely enough, is once you've connected with one indie game, you'll start to then look and test out other indie games, and that's when you'll start to progress. So it's not. So people just go, oh, it's a slow progression, but it just takes one fit to click, and then it will happen. It's one of those things you'll be like, oh, okay, well, let's try that. Actually, this really clicks well. That franchise has really got me interested. So, for instance, Vampire Survivors. Is it Vampire Survivors or?
Yeah, Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, indie game. If you got into that? If you enjoyed that?
Games like that.
I did play it.
Now, yeah, exactly.
No, but there was loads of them before.
And that's what I mean.
It's the one that blew up, though.
That's my struggle. I've not seen anything that's grabbed me that said I need to play that. And it's not that I've got nothing against indie games. I think it's brilliant what they do. Some of the games, I think, it's really good. I hear, see indie show, see a lot of people talking about how good these indie games, Removable, VJ. But I've just not found one that I've gone, I need to play it yet. Don't get me wrong, I'm still looking. I'm open to playing stuff, trying new things, but it's got to be one of them games that I've got to go, I want to play that. I need to play that. I've just not come across one as of yet.
And that is fair enough. I think it's one of those things. It takes time. It takes an open mind to try and do so. But once it clicks, and that was it. I was in the same boat, and it just took one game that really clicked with me for me to kind of then go, okay, I'm just going to look elsewhere and try and look at different things as well. So I'll never shame anyone for saying nothing's clicked with me yet, because that's the most that's the most honest opinion. It hasn't clicked with me. Well, you can't make games click. Unfortunately, you can't. Some games click for some people. Some games click for others. That's it.
Same with some AAA games. There's AAA games. I hear people going absolutely nuts over how amazing it is, and I look at it and think, there's nothing that's making me want to go and play it just for the sake of playing it. I've got to want to play it. Again, time is precious. We've only all got limited time on this planet. And it's like, I don't want to just play stuff for the sake of playing it because everyone's saying it's the best game ever. If I don't want indie saying how can I not find something that clinks if I don't try them? I'm more of, I want to see it. I'll watch a trailer, I'll watch a review, I'll watch, gameplay or whatever. And that's how I tend to look at it and think, yeah, I want to play it, or no, I don't want to play it. I honestly don't have the time to think, right, I'm going to download it, play it for a couple of hours and see how I go with it. I just think, to me, that, and I'm only speaking for me, I'm not saying about anyone else, but to me, that's a waste of time for me. That time could be spent somewhere else doing something else. But I do like to look. I don't get me wrong. It's like I don't just dismiss indie games, don't look at them or anything like that. Anytime there are indie games and stuff coming out, I do look at them. I look at trailers. I listen to what people are saying, but I have to see it. And if I look at it and thinking, I want to give that a go, I'll give it a go, and it could probably hook me. If I've got that feeling that I want to play it, it's already got me. But I've not come across an indie game yet that's made me feel that way.
It takes time. Honestly, it takes time. It'll be something I click. You'll watch something and go, "Oh, that looks nice," or "That looks good." You'll probably watch something else, another video, and go, "Oh, yeah, that's that. I'll try it out." It's everyone's different in that regards. So the fact that you're still looking is a good thing. You haven't dismissed them completely, which I do know some players do. They just go, no, I am never, ever going to touch an indie game whatsoever. It is not worth my time, money, or effort. So at least having an open mind for me is a great thing still.
Yeah, but I think, I see what stuff Indy's putting in the chat. Indy, please don't cut my internet off. But maybe I do need to step out of that norm and comfort zone, and maybe I just need to try something, do something different, maybe give something a try.
Of Edith Finch, you need to download it now. It is amazing. That will change your mind forever.
That looks boring.
It's amazing. The stories, Yeah, it's stories. They're great.
Yeah, but some people don't like the narrative stories. That's the thing. BMG will know the genres that suit him the best. And the best advice I could say, if you've got a particular genre that you really, really like, try and find an indie game that is in that genre. Because you'll find something that will click better with a genre that you're really, really into rather than a genre that you're not into. And then once only then would I say start to move into other genres. As like for someone who absolutely hated Dark Souls, indie games was my way into that genre. And now I'm actually really enjoying the Dark Souls series and stuff and those sort of type of games. But I absolutely hated it prior to that. So, it's one of those things. Take your time, don't rush. And the fact you've got an open mind, that's always a good thing. Doesn't matter, don't let people try and force you into where you should go. I think you should, find something that you really like, you really enjoy, and then just play it.
Yeah, I'm going to find something. I'm going to make it a point for this year that I will find an indie game that I am going to go and play. I'll step out a bit, give something a try, and see where we go. But it's just I've always been one of them I like Destiny because it's more of I enjoy the game, but it's more of playing online with friends, chatting, catching up, and stuff like that. And I find that more enjoyable than playing it on my own. Same with Halo. I've not played a Halo yet on my own. I've always played with someone, and that's and I enjoy it more. But I more go for the cinematic, story-driven games. That's where always my focus has been. I like a game where I can jump in, big epic story, things going on. Like the Uncharted series is one of my favorite series of games I've ever played, and and they're the sort of games I've always gone for. I played Battlefield 2042, but I play with a friend, so it's not that I'm just playing it on my own. I'm catching up with a friend and playing and having fun more and concentrating on what's going on. But, I do.
I think the connotations of social gaming is just rampant now. A lot of gamers I know they won't play with themselves. They need a partner. Right, Mr. Stubbs? Anyway.
I prefer to, I need to
play with yourself. Is that what you're saying?
As a gamer.
He's taking the Fifth Amendment, because I'm like you, BMJ. I would just play single player games, Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man, or Final Fantasy, all that sort of stuff. But sometimes what was that game? Back for Blood. I don't really play that many co-op or party games, but I think I had a lot of fun with that, and not just the catching up, but the experience itself in terms of gaming socially. I think has a big impact on people these days for sure. But I don't know. Back in the 90s, did I really do couch co-op that much? I don't know. I don't remember.
So I was one of the PC LAN boys. So for me, it was literally pick up your PC, go around to someone's house, connect by LAN, and then we'd spend hours. I mean, biggest thing for me.
Removal. Yeah, I'm really sorry, Removal. I used that term, but I was thinking of like eSWAT and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the arcades. So I was using the term for the arcade games, right?
So you're telling me you never had you never put off? So you kind of
and
I suppose it. I suppose it was
Dragon Ninja, Double Dragon, all that sort of stuff.
I get. Actually, it was those sort of games was with my family members, like brother, friends. It was harder because people couldn't afford that many games, and so trying to get your mate to buy a game just to play co-op with him was actually a lot harder than it is today.
Was it Time Splitters or was it Halo Removable, which was
Time Splitters?
Time Splitters, yeah.
Time Splitters was an amazing multiplayer game.
It was.
And it was probably the start of one where I found that other people besides myself had also brought the game, and so playing 4-player with on time splitters with your mates was really good.
But was that online removal? Or was that couch?
Couch.
Yeah.
I think that there was ongoing capability. Was it BMG?
Yeah. I think it was limited. I think it was they did have a online, like sort of online for time splitters, but I don't think it worked very well, if I remember rightly. I think it was.
I mean,
it was awful. It was better couch co-op, if I remember rightly.
Mm-hmm.
Like GoldenEye.
Yes.
Couch co-op, brilliant fun game.
See, for me, it was stuff like I don't know if you guys remember Virtua Racing 8-player link up and Daytona in the arcades, right? Because they spent a lot of money in the arcades.
Or Virtua Cop.
Virtua Cop, Time Crisis,
Time Crisis.
But Daytona down at the Seasides and Margate and all that 8-player game with friends and playing that, for an hour or so. I mean, yeah. So I don't know if it took time, but obviously with technology and stuff, it took time, right, to get it across onto PC. So I can understand the social aspect, like BMG saying, he's at work all day or whatever, or etc. And then coming home and then chatting with friends, catching up, having a beer or a pint of snakebite, and then playing, his favorite game. Then, because time's limited, right, as well, right? I don't know how much time you spend playing games, BMG.
It varies depending what I've got work wise through the week, but I've been trying to get a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours in on an evening if possible, where I can.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's good. It's like Sea of Thieves was not something that really interested me, but when you're actually playing with friends, I tried it on my own, failed, deleted it, re-downloaded it because, we got together, if you remember, me, UVJ and Stubbs, and we started having a bash, and then, we're sailing away and Stubbs fell asleep and the ship crashed, so me and VJ decided to set it on fire while he was on it and watch it sink, Good
old days, yeah.
That's it. But those experiences, because it's just something that's not scripted. It's just something unique because we decided to do something on a whim because it was fun. And I like that social aspect because, a lot of my friends, they've all got, jobs, families. So you can't catch up, nip down to the pub for a beer or round for a cup of tea. It's sometimes when you get a couple of hours free, it's jump on game and catch up while gaming. And I find, I would say over the last couple of years that's how I've mainly connected with, friends that I can't go and see daily for, because of,
various
work,
reasons,
life and everything else. Yeah. It's just that is the way I connect, and it also helps me enjoy games more as well because I'm not just experiencing it on my own. I'm experiencing with others, and you just never know what's going to happen, and something crazy could happen, and you experience that together, and it's good.
Sorry, BMG, you just said something removable, and if you see the common pattern, those Paolo in Japan videos. And even though he follows the lives of ordinary people across all sorts of jobs and disciplines and life activities, what do they all do when they go home at night? They make themselves a quick meal, and then they sit down, they open up their TV and their laptop, and what are they conversing and eating with friends and playing games? That's what they've all in common, right? From 7 or 8 at night until 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
They all do it. It's that was the common
culture. It was a cultural aspect. It was literally it was, they do 15-hour days, and then you should make something to eat, and then just basically read manga or game for the next 4 or 5 hours, then do the whole thing again. Jesus Christ.
But it's a social activity, right? At the end of the day, because it's not necessarily cheap to go out in Tokyo. It's very expensive, but they can go home. They can meet with 3 or 4 friends. They can play They play games together, and some of them are indie games. Most of them are indie games, actually, that they were playing.
Yes,
together.
right, yeah.
You know, I think that's a really important point to make. But out of I don't know if you know this guy. He's got lots and lots of videos, and he has millions of subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views on his videos. He just follows the lives of normal, everyday people in Japan, from all over Japan that move to Tokyo primarily, have jobs, have lives, single. Sort of, would you say 20 to 30-year-olds, and they all do pretty much the same thing in the evening, which is eat at home, and unless they're going out on a work thing, and playing indie games together in groups of 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
So plugging indie games there for you, Removable.
It's Queen Mare on the screen. The child.
What?
Gears of War.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that?
Queen Mare.
Oh, she looks younger in a picture.
It's a child.
Oh, so she's not really as old as that in the game.
That's a picture when she was a child.
No, it's a historical picture.
Oh, right.
I'm going to send you this video rather than put it on there.
Don't worry about that.
Well, you wanted to know.
No, I just wanted
polite.
to know. I just wanted to know if she was having a way with the whatever you call them, hive, whatever they're called. Locusts, yeah. She was experimenting. She looks like one of them type of people.
Oh dear.
The conversations we have.
I tell you something, mixing Fosters and vaping really doesn't do me well.
Is it because you're drinking the vape and you're trying to smoke the Fosters?
It very well could be that combination in that order doesn't work.
Stubbs has gone quiet again. Do you know, I'm starting to worry about... Oh, you are there? Yeah.
He's doing a very derelict duty of being host this week. So I think
Do you know what it is? He's getting himself prepared for the WAS event this week. No, is it end of this week?
I thought we was looking up Destiny 2 insults.
Oh.
I like Destiny 2.
Oh, there you go.
No.
That's the worst thing.
If that's not an insult.
That is an insult.
First, I've got a really bad cough. I'm trying to keep the coughing to the minimum. That's why. I'm not talking for very long at once.
It's because you know what it is. It's because you've been obviously clearly to get that cough. You've been sucking on something, haven't you?
No. I've had enough of the bloody cough. I've had it for weeks. It's annoying.
There was a pause there before he answered.
That's exactly what I was like.
I'm trying to keep the listeners don't want to hear my cough. So I keep pausing the mic a lot. Even though you lot don't think the mic's paused, I've got a button on my mic. Obviously, press pause.
Mr. Stubbs, sorry to jump in. I'm really sorry, but I have to actually leave. I've got to go.
No, that's fine. We can wrap it up here if you want. No problem.
No, I just want to say thanks for having me on. Thanks for Removable. No doubt. And BMG, it was great to speak to you today. And thanks for everybody in the chat for listening to my nonsense. And Mr. Stubbs, thanks for having me again. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
No, great to be on the show again, VJ. It's been too long.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Bye, everyone.
VJ.
Have a good
one. Thanks for coming on, BMG. It's been a good one to have you back on the show. Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done a show together, and it's doing a podcast on a Monday again. You know, the Monday nights were free after our stint with Stasis Chat. But yeah, it's been good.
It's good. But yeah, do you want to tell people where they can find you? I have linked the website and stuff in the description. But if you want to tell people where they can find you, as you are now a content creator and a podcaster.
sonicappreciation.com, isn't it?
You'll never be a podcaster or content creator. I said, well, now you're actually deemed one of them. Now you are. You're in that realm.
I'm a cog in a wheel. That's the title I'll take. Cog in a wheel.
Just like Gears.
Go and get me some of that Queen Mirror, if you know what I'm saying.
So that's the website. If you want to go for, queenmirrorporn.com, BMG is currently the.
Oh yeah. Tea bags aren't just for a cup of tea. But no, you can find me on Twitter at Baldman Gamer, Xbox Baldman Gamer, PlayStation Baldman Gamer 86. I'm part of the XBN Network family. We do 2 shows a week for regular content. The PSN Party Podcast, the PlayStation show, which I am the host of. We have a show Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. BST, and it's a bit of a special one this week. Instead of doing like news and chatting about games, I'm doing a video game 100 questions, which pretty much I have 5 games that the panel have 100 questions to guess what they are.
Oh, we did this, so I remember this.
Yeah,
but not 100 though. Bit different.
Yeah. It's we'll do one game at a time, and then they got So I usually do 20 questions at the end of each show. So this is just a bit of a change of pace instead of going over the same news, which pretty much has been the same for the last few weeks. And also, I'm a panel member on the XBL Party Podcast, which is on Thursdays at 8 p.m. BST. Obviously, we've got the website, xbnnetwork.com, and also on Twitter at XBN Network. So, yeah, if you fancy any of the content, check us out. We have reviews and everything else popping up, shorts, pretty much all sorts, live streams. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me. I do appreciate the invite for coming on. Thank you.
No, it was great, mate, honestly.
It was good to have you back on the channel. It was. Even though you pointed out to me that this show is kind of a rebranded version of a show I used to do, and you were actually right. A bit modified a bit.
Yeah,
I didn't realise it until you said it.
Yeah, Roundtable Gaming. Yeah, we're pretty much literally just got on and we just chatted anything really. But you've done like a revamped, better version of it, and you have a great panel. And
I seem to be keeping to doing it as well.
You're buttering us up. That means you want something, and I'm not giving you my cookie.
Damn you!
Thanks for coming on again. It's been good to have you back on. It has once again, Renegade Master.
Yay!
That came up because I have a habit. It came through the green room. I have a habit of saying, "Thanks for coming on once again," and then Ruben said, "Every time you say that, I go once again, Renegade Master." It comes. You are right.
Clicks in my head. I don't know why, but it does.
That's fair enough. Thanks for coming back on, Removable.
No, much appreciated again for having me on, and it's also great to have BMG on here. He's always welcome on here. This man is definitely one that you should follow, at least on the social media or on his console or where he resides. I would recommend you do follow this young chappie.
Thank you.
Not at all. He has a great many shows that always provides a good smile, I must admit. I'm forever entertained, at least, and he also allows me to wind him up about his fascination with Sonic. So, I mean, what else could we possibly
you
want?
are lucky because normally people come on podcasts with like Scott from or Indie Games podcast. Now he usually likes to wind BMG up when he comes on. I think he actually went to I think he had a green screen. He had Sonic on his shoulder. He went to some lengths to do that for you. He did.
He prepared that all day for me.
Yeah,
literally, he had an anime. I don't know how he did it.
I don't either.
He had a little animated Sonic that sat on his shoulder, and he like moved and did all sorts. I don't know how he did it.
It's amazing how he did it.
Oh my
the lengths
God.
he went to get you.
He did, yes.
Clearly, you need to try and basically see if he can do a few things like that on your show. except for Mario, make it Mario instead.
No, let's not. He'll try and do something. He'll stick Sonic down my throat if he had the chance. Damn you, Scott. And congratulations, Scott, on getting married. It was awesome to see a few photos.
Indeed. Stubbsy.
Thanks for coming on, Removal. You haven't told people where they can find you.
Oh, Christ, yeah. Do you know what? I completely forgot about that. This is how my brain's going. You can normally find me on Minds, YouTube, and Xbox, and obviously the Twit under the name RemovableSanity.
Thanks for coming on.
Much appreciated.
You can find me on this YouTube channel, stubzgaming on Twitter. You can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, and shout outs to BMG. He's the only review I've received on Apple Podcasts so far. Thanks for that.
You did pay me, so
I can't. To be fair, on podcast platforms, it does the best on Apple Podcasts. I don't know how, it just does. But if you can leave an Apple review, Spotify review, Google review, anywhere, basically, we get good ratings or good rankings on a new app called Good Pods as well. We ranked the other week. We ranked 16, quite high in the chart, on the games chart for that. But yeah, we're on all podcast platforms basically. If there's a podcast platform we're not on, please let me know, and I'll get us on there. We're on
Joe Rogan.
Well, no, Joe Rogan, Spotify. I just meant the services. We're on Spotify. He's the biggest podcaster in the world. He is.
He's also a platform. He also gets people on to his platform, though, doesn't he? So clearly, that's where you need to aim for next.
He's a genius. He's an absolute genius. He really is. I never thought podcasting reached the levels of the money that anyone could get for that. Is insane.
And he's a fellow old man.
He is, and obviously he's controversial, but he's willing to take on different opinions, and if he feels the opinion was wrong, he's willing to change his mind, which is always good with debating. But Spotify stood by him. I'm not going to say what, but there was a load of controversy, and Spotify stood by him because he was clever, unlike a lot of these other Spotify deals where it's licensed, as in Spotify owned the content, whereas Joe Rogan owns his own content, and they're only paying him a fee to be on the platform and have all his content exclusive. They have no creative control over him. He was a clever man for doing that. All the others have got Spotify studios and all that, but pretty much Spotify can tell them what to do. But Joe Rogan's, that's not the case.
The thing is, it's a hard thing to find with podcasts, whatever you listen to, whether it be gaming, film, TV, music, whatever it is. It's hard to find people on a show where they can have an opinion, everyone else can have an opinion, you can have a bit of a debate, and you can actually change people's minds. You get hardcore, especially gamers, most of the time, the hardcore Xbox, PlayStation, and it doesn't matter what facts you say or opinions, you're either shot down, can't change their mind, or they can't stick with their opinion and take on board what you've said, which it's harder to find. But like shows like this, we've all got opinions. We can respect each other's opinions, whether we agree or not, or if we're wrong, or it's you can like say with Joe Rogan, you can change the minds and think, okay, I didn't know about that. You've informed me about this I didn't know. Now that makes me look at it differently. And
you will say if it's an opinion.
Well, this is the difference. I think the difference is that even say, for instance, you have an opinion that the rest of the panelists absolutely hate, we'd never see you as an enemy.
Yeah,
we'd still see you as a friend, regardless. It doesn't, your opinions. You can still get beyond people's opinions in that regards. It can be still seen as friendship, as a friendly thing. Too many people have seen it as black and white, and that's it. It's like, oh, he has this opinion, I'm not ever going to speak to him. It's like,
tell you what, though, I know something about that show when Mr. Beast went on. And Mr. Beast, because I didn't know that this is how Joe Rogan stops. When people, I do it all the time, I don't mean to, try and talk over people. Well, what I didn't realise was Mr. Beast kept mentioning it. What he does is the software, when they're recording, plays all their voices back in the headset. So if you start to do it, you can hear it in your headset and it sounds awful. He said it's to stop people talking over each other. So you can hear, basically you're talking, but you can hear yourself through the headphones. He said to Mr. Beast, it's done on purpose. So you don't talk over people.
Yeah, it's just nice where, you know, we can all debate things, have different opinions, but everyone's still friends after it because that's all it is. It's just thoughts, opinions, experiences, and things like that. It's the fact that we can all get on afterwards. It's you probably, if you've been, you know, watched XBL or anything like that, I have a lot of different divisive opinions to the panel.
You do. It's like a fighting match sometimes, but you're all friends in the end.
Oh, sometimes it is. Sometimes it seems like arguments, but I don't, you know, I'm friends with all the guys. I wouldn't fall out on their opinions and that anything again that's different from mine. It's just all a conversation, and it's nice.
It's a mentality thing, isn't it? It's something that's just like, you know what, at the end of the day, you know, you can be friends with people with different opinions, and I think it's gotten to a bit like it's a black or white situation these days. I think that kind of needs to be. I think needs to be expanded. You know, human beings are very complex individuals, and every individual is going to have different stages in their life. You know, when you're so much younger, you're so confident, so set in your ways. As you learn to grow with your critical thinking, things expand. And so, you know, it's one of the things you've got to learn, that humanity evolves, and you also evolve as you grow older as well. You know, it's we should kind of get rid of this kind of rigid black or white thinking. I think we need more of a polite and respectful conversations, regardless of whether we may or may not agree with anyone on a particular topic.
Yeah, and it's better because at the end of the day, if we all thought had the exact same opinion, life would be boring, and, you know, shows would be boring because everyone's thinking and saying the exact same. I like, you know, talking to people, especially that don't always agree with me, or they tell me something that I didn't know, which helps change my mind on and look at things differently. You know, I like things like that. I like diversity, you know, meeting different people.
Diversity of thought.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, perfect. Sorry, Stubbs, you were wrapping up there.
Yeah, it's my fault, though. Because I went on tangent about Spotify, etc. But yes, thanks for tuning in, everyone.
I just saw Daft Praxis's last comment. That is true.
But yeah, thanks everyone. Indie Gamer, Daft Praxis. Too many to mention, but thanks for everyone for popping in. And there's been loads in chats like Misuku. There's been loads. There has.
Graphic God.
Graphic God. Can you remember any others? Carlo, Sentinel, Crispy Bomb, UK Daz.
All the good people were here. That's what it is, really.
But like to say as well, to everyone in chat and everyone listening back on YouTube or on podcasts, make sure you follow Removable Sanity, VJ, and Stubbs. Always stuff being posted, all informative. Removable Sanity every Wednesday does Wishlist Wednesday.
I do.
You know,
and tons of other people too.
Yeah, and you know, you literally, you know, if you are looking for like indie games and wanting to discover new games, you know, make sure you're following Removable because, like I said, especially on a Wednesday, the numerous indie developers that are retweeting and posting about the games. You know, I always check them out to see if there's anything, you know, that might catch my eye. But yeah, highly recommend following all these awesome dudes.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. Even though I talk loads of shit on Twitter. But yeah, I do. If you follow me, you might get a follow back. I don't do it very often. But yeah, it's been a great show. It has. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm not sure who we're going to have on. We'll have to see what happens. We will. But anyway, see you all next time. Thanks.
Have a great time gaming.
Take care, everyone.